and girls, welcome back to my channel. My name is CK and my channel is Psychology, and in this video, I'm not taking you anywhere, but I am introducing you to my new friend, Mr. Andrew Taylor. Hi Andrew, how are you?
I'm great. It's so good to meet you, CK.
Well, finally I get to meet you because congratulations, you've gone viral recently.
Hardly.
And I really want to talk about the topic of retiring in Malaysia. Nobody has really talked about that and done that. I finally discovered you. Who are you? Where are you from?
I grew up in Florida in the United States.
You're from Florida?
Yes.
Oh my god, that's my favorite state.
Is it?
Which part of Florida?
Tampa.
You're from Tampa. Oh my god. And may I know, what did you do in Tampa before you retired?
Well, I didn't actually work in Tampa. That's where I grew up. After college, I moved to Washington, D.C. I lived 40 years of my adult life in Washington, D.C.
Oh, you work in D.C. What did you do in D.C.?
I did a lot of things. I've never really had a real career. I do have a design background. I went to art school. I had many jobs. I sold furniture. I was an office manager. My last job, I worked in a church.
And you lived here how long now?
I've been 7.5 years in Malaysia, 7 years in Penang.
So tell us how you got here.
I wanted to retire for a long time, and I just couldn't afford it in the U.S. So I started looking into alternatives and saw the MM2H program and decided to go for it.
And that was 7 years ago when you saw
I had one friend here, so
You had one friend here, you saw the program, and you just took a flight.
Yeah, I sold everything and packed 2 suitcases and came.
Your channel is called Andrew Taylor, and Andrew talks a broad topics actually, but mainly he's gone viral because of the topic of retiring in Malaysia. So how is it like now after 7 years retiring here?
Well, I feel like it's my home. I don't have any desire to go back to the U.S. Even for visits, I'm not really interested.
Really? And what is the misconception you think, especially for foreigners? I mean, I know lots of videos on retiring in Thailand and even in the Philippines. What do you think is the misconception people have retiring in Malaysia? I thought religion would have been the first thing.
Well, that's a big one, I think, for people. I got a lot of questions about that when I talked about moving here. The people just think it's too far away.
Too far away.
And
it's different culture.
It's completely different culture, and it just scares people. You know, most Americans, I would say most anyway, have never left the country.
If you were to do it all over again, like coming here, what would you do differently?
I might have waited until I was a little bit older, because I did retire before I got any pension. And so I had to live on savings for the first 1.5 years.
And people would retire in Florida, but you chose Malaysia. What is the first cultural shock on the first year? I mean, I know things are normal now for you after 7 years, but the first year, what was the shocking part?
I think how inexpensive everything was, but
especially now with the US dollar peaking.
So strong, right?
Yeah.
But also the food is so different. I wasn't familiar with it at all. Also, I'm sorry to say, I don't really like fish. And fish is huge in Malaysia.
Huge here. Well, 2 things is huge: the fish and coconut. Everything is drizzled with coconut. And because we're a peninsula, every major town is a fishing town here.
Well, you would think, being from Florida, I would like fish too, but
not your thing.
I do like a bit of cool weather, so that's one of the biggest adjustments I've had to make, because
the humidity,
it's so hot. And now where I live, the windows, I have 2 windows that open, and I don't get any cross ventilation, so I use the aircon all the time.
What do you think has changed after 7 years? You must have changed.
Well, I'm just more comfortable here, and I'm used to the locals. I have a lot of local friends. Yeah, and that's just neat, and they think it's neat to have an American friend for some reason.
So what would be the biggest advice you give for viewers who want to retire specifically in Malaysia?
I think just overcome your fears.
Overcome fears?
Because it's not as scary as you think. And honestly, Malaysia, I have to say, I picked Malaysia a lot because English is so widely spoken here.
That's true.
And I'm one of the American dummies who doesn't speak any other language. So.
That's a good point, because I don't know anybody who does not speak a sentence of English here.
Right.
It's quite easy.
Well, it's more common in the larger cities like KL and Penang. In Penang, it seems like even more people speak English than in KL.
Than in KL, yeah. Okay, now is the quiz time where I have fun with foreigners, grilling them about things about Malaysia. I am going to play with you 8 things or technology that is invented by Malaysia. No, we invented 8 things that changed the world.
Really?
So there's the monitor. So we're gonna look at the monitor, and you will tell me what these things.
Oh, I have to tell you, it's not multiple choice.
No, just tell me what you think this is, and then I'll tell you who and how they came about to invent this. Right? Okay, are you ready? So
Yes.
8 things. The first thing is, what do you think this is? So it's plastic, and you feel water into it. So it's just a lid.
I think rice steamer. No?
No, not really. It has something to do with eggs.
Oh, an egg poacher.
So this is what they call an egg, soft-boiled egg.
Okay. So almost like poached
Yeah,
egg.
so soft-boiled egg tumbler. And this is only in Malaysia. I don't see it in anywhere else.
Really?
This is a Malaysian invention. And it's invented by a guy called Hugh Akau. So he was a lumberjack. And he loved soft-boiled eggs like me. So he always complained that, he cooked the egg and then he goes and does his work, and when he comes back, the egg is usually hard-boiled. So he invented this.
Wow.
And he sold the patent for this. And it's gone very viral. And now you can find it in everywhere in kopitiam cafes. Everywhere
Wow.
they use it. So you just put your eggs in, you pour water, and when the water, it drips. And when the water is finished dripping, you have the perfect soft-boiled egg.
Oh, I'll have to buy one.
So what about this? It's not a fax machine. It looks like one.
A scanner?
It's not a scanner. It's not a fax machine. What do you think this
Does
is?
it have something to do with the office?
Yes, it makes something to do with the office. It's a bit obsolete nowadays, but still people use it. And it did change the world, practically.
I have no idea.
So this is a rubber stamp cloner. So this is a rubber stamp clone. So before this happened, it usually took a week to do a rubber stamp. So people used to, line up the letter and then create the rubber stamp that you want. With this machine, it's 5 minutes. You can produce a rubber stamp. So it uses a thing called polyclone. So with polyclone, because this guy who invented it, he was studying in Japan. And so he was doing in the printing business in Japan. And he figured that if this can be used in printing, why can't we use it in the rubber stamp? Let's move on to the third item. So you must have seen this. So it's a hexagon, it's like a B shape. What do you think this is?
A retaining wall?
So this is actually called the Nehemiah wall. Nehemiah wall, and it's invented by a guy. Actually, his name is Nehemiah Lee. Yes, so Mr. Lee is a civil engineer.
Okay.
And he invented this hexagon thing to build highways and to hold the highways and the crossover together. And he invented it in the 1980s. This was the best way to hold the structure together. So it's now been used all over the world to build highway, crossover, as you can see, buildings, and it's invented by a Malaysian.
Wow.
The next one is, what do you think this is? It's obviously a camera, but what do you think?
A telephoto lens?
Yes, very close. So this is what we call a litro camera. So litro is actually a sensor that enables you to capture like two different images to focus. and it uses the light that bounces back from an object, like a light that is bouncing off me. So it can use the light to refocus the object. And it's invented by a guy called Ren Ng. He was studying in Stanford and he was doing the research in Stanford University. And he invented it, and every camera now has it.
Wow.
Yes, nitro camera. Now, what do you think this is?
An ice machine? Or,
Close.
To make slushies or...
So it's just a water dispenser.
Oh, okay.
But what's so interesting about this water dispenser, it's an eco water dispenser.
All right.
And so it uses sewage water to drinkable water.
Ew.
Yes. So it's invented by...
I don't want one.
Well, it's invented by Ui Seng Chai. The whole process is called osmosis, and it has zero net waste of water, especially now with the drought and everything. What do you think? I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you know this.
Well, I don't know. It looks like a Hello Kitty panda.
No, look what this is. Look what this is. What this is.
Does it catch? Oh. Are those teeth in there?
Every kids have this now. So it's a flippered toothbrush holder.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's actually not an accident how this person invented it. His name is Gu Yok T, and he wanted a way to hold his toothbrush without, a hygienic way to hold the toothbrush. So it took a team of engineers to come out with this design, and every kid now has it. That you close your toothbrush.
And then it cleans the. Yeah, that's better than having roaches crawl all over it.
Yeah. So it's sold all over the world now.
Cool.
Malaysian invention.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think this one you would know. This one you definitely know. I mean, we hardly use it now, but...
Oh, a thumb drive.
Yes, a thumb drive. So thumb drive invented by Malaysian who moved to Taiwan.
Well, I know there's a lot of technology, particularly in Penang and probably in KL too. But
so this is probably the most famous Malaysian invention, invented by a guy called Hua Kian Sing. He moved to Taiwan, studied in the University of Taiwan, and he invented it, which changed the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we hardly use it now because it's going obsolete, I think. Because everything is cloud now.
Yeah, I think people still use it for music in their cars and stuff.
Invented by Malaysia. Ta-da! What do you think this is? This has gone viral also recently. What do you think this is? Flowery and...
I don't know. It looks like a pet collar or a headband.
Yes, so you're not entirely wrong. So this is called loom bands. It's entirely made of rubber, which Malaysia has abundant of. So this person, his name is Cheong Chun Ng, and he lives in the States. He lives in Detroit, and he was one day he was watching his daughter playing rubber band and make rubber band bracelets. So he came up with the idea of rubber band jewelry. And it's gone viral, and it's called loom bands, and you can see the Duchess of Cambridge wears it.
They're smaller than it looked in the picture.
Yeah. So it's gone viral. So those are the 8 things invented
I'm so
by
impressed.
Malaysian.
I thought you were going to start with plastic gloves.
Plastic glove?
Aren't they from Malaysia too? I think they're the biggest manufacturer in the world.
Plastic glove? I don't know.
Oh, like the ones they use in hospitals, the latex glove.
I don't think that's invented by Malaysia, but do comment below who invented plastic glove. I don't think it's Malaysian, but it's a huge industry here. So that was my quiz. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, that was really fun. I learned a lot.
I learned a lot too. So we move on to our interview. What is the latest MM2H update? So MM2H is a program for foreigner, Malaysian as your second home, and that they want to attract foreigners to investment, retirement here in Malaysia. And now there's an updated version, MM2H. So what's the latest update actually that you know? I heard it's a big change or something.
Well, it's not that new. After it was about a year ago, they changed the requirements to be untenable for most people. That no one practically would be able to qualify. The income and the deposits are so high that no one can qualify. They, I don't know if that was their intention, but they've gotten just a couple of hundred applications since then, instead of normally thousands.
Thousands, yeah.
So I'm hoping that it changes. At first, they made it sound like it would apply to people who already had MM2H, which scared me, and I thought I was going to have to leave. But no, they decided that if you already had MM2H, that it was going to, you'd go by the old rules.
But what is the biggest changes? I heard the deposit's going to be like the
$1 million.
A million deposit now?
It's 150. I paid 150,000
ringgit.
It's now 1 million ringgit.
Oh my, that's like almost tenfold?
Yeah.
Ninefold?
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, that's, I
so
don't know.
this visa they gave you, how long is the visa?
It was for 10 years.
It was for 10 years.
Now it's for 5 years.
Oh, now it's 5 years for 1 million ringgit. My gosh. Okay, well.
Oh, but there is. Do you want me to mention the Sarawak MM2H?
Yeah.
Sarawak MM2H is also recognized in West Malaysia, and it's more like the old rules, and you can live anywhere except you have to spend 2 weeks of the year in Sarawak.
Only 2 weeks per year in Sarawak, and it's still on the old one.
It's pretty similar to the old one, actually even more lenient than that.
I'm surprised they approved this because that encourages people to do the Sarawak one.
Well, Sarawak has their own government.
That's true. I mean, state government. But I'm surprised because the federal has to kind of approve it. No, I don't think.
No, they don't.
They don't. Yeah. So leave the comment below. What do you think of this? I mean, this is the first time I've heard of it. So what is your tip for young YouTuber coming out now? What have you learned from YouTube?
Well, what I've learned is that, well, my big takeaway from what I've done so far is talk about what things cost. People love to know what things cost, and particularly Malaysians, I think, because they're always afraid to ask. Well, not so many are afraid to ask, but sometimes they're afraid to ask, so they love to be told. They're always curious about what something costs and compare it to the United States. So I think that's one reason I've done really well. And I think just being natural. I get a lot of comments that I just seem natural. And for some people like to listen to my voice. But I don't know. I don't think there's one secret to being successful on YouTube at all.
No, I think what I watch from your YouTube is I think you narrate things very well. And I don't feel like you're hurrying something. And your pace is like very evenly. So it's actually quite relaxing to watch hear you talk.
That's what people have said. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube, and people are blah 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 blah. And that's just, I cannot speed my speech up that much. So.
And I would say you have the information is quite packed in his video, and I learned. I mean, even myself, I learned a lot. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now you've gone viral. What's your next plan? What's kind of the content we can anticipate from your channel?
Well, I'm going to start getting out of the apartment more. Up till now, I've mostly just done it on my sofa.
This is his first time out.
Filming outside. Yeah.
So it took a bit of convincing, but he's out and
no one's paying any attention to us.
Exactly. I told you. You know, but the first time when I was vlogging, I had everyone in the restaurant looked at me. And the kopitiam looking at me, and now today I'm like, I just have to focus.
Everybody's just walked by. They don't even look at us.
Exactly. So sorry. What is the content that you're gonna put out very soon then?
Well, I'm hopefully more travel related.
You're gonna show us more of Malaysia, right?
But people keep asking for a price comparison, so I'm going to do that, like going to the movies, getting haircuts, things like that.
Yes, do that. And especially now with the dollar peaking, I don't know, 4.3. Oh my God! Yeah.
Well, it's good for me, but it could change too. When I first moved here, it was 3 something. So, but after the first year, it went up to 4 and has stayed there ever since. So for the last 6 years.
And knowingly now the trend is a lot of Americans are actually moving out of the States to Mexico, to Costa Rica.
And those are popular, very popular with people who have family in the States still. I mean, I have 2 sisters, that's all I have left. And one of them has come to visit me, and the other one's coming next year. So it's not like I have parents I have to visit, or children or grandchildren, you know, so it makes it a lot easier if you're not connected.
Yeah. Well, I hope I stay connected with you.
Yes.
Because I'm very excited to see what you're putting out.
Thank you.
And also hope we can collaborate more.
Sure. Thanks, CK.
Sure. So that's my interview with Mr. Andrew Taylor. Do subscribe to his channel if you're thinking of retiring, or do you want to know all the prices here in Malaysia. So thank you, Andrew, and we say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.